Welcome to this video where I'll be showing you how to render metals using colour pencils. So the first thing you'll notice is I've already done a few examples, the reason being that it does take a while and I don't want this video to run too long. So I would recommend, as with my previous video on wood rendering, that you use an underlay. You see here, this is the sketch I did of my component. I put that underneath the paper and I rendered on top of it so that I didn't have to draw onto my original sketch. Also means I can do multiple sketches to see which one I prefer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this rectangular block as my underlay, and I'm going to do this cuboid as a sort of bluish steel chrome type look. So what we do is we select our colours first, so we get those colours out of the way, and you'll take your lightest colour, which in this case will be this mauve-ish looking ultramarine, and we will just put on the rough outsides of our object as light as we can, just so we know where we're working, and then we can get this underlay out of the way. So now we can remove this out of the way. If we need it, we can always go back to it later. So now what we want to do is to think about where the light's coming in. When you're rendering metals, it's effectively just an affectation. It's not really going to look like an exact piece of metal, because most metals are going to just reflect the objects around them, and what you're doing is drawing an object in a void, in a completely white void. So back in the sort of 80s and 90s, we used to get taught that you imagine the object in the desert and the sun's just coming up, and then the horizon would be black coming down, sort of shaded towards the sort of colour of the sand. In this case, if the object was blue metal, it would be blue, and you'd have the sky above. And whilst this can be quite effective on very simple objects, I've found over time that I just get really confused as to what to do with complex objects, how the lines work. So I started working on something that looked a little more like this, where the aim is to use white reflections towards the edges to create a sense of contrast, which will therefore make the material look reflective, and by the use of the different colours and tones you can start to make it look more like metal. So the first thing we want to do then is to identify the edges of our object and think about where we want to put these areas of contrast. So if I draw a line parallel to there, coming across that corner, parallel from the front, across that corner, and there. So as you can see, I'm sort of working on L shapes in the corners, but I might put one in each corner, very much depends. Now I know from working on these sorts of things before that the general consensus is if you imagine that the light is coming over your left hand shoulder, so it's coming in down this way, this would be the lightest area here. So even though I'm putting these corners in, what I'll probably try to do is keep this area lighter and this area darker. So then we just start putting in some tones, and again I'm holding my pencil differently depending on what I'm working on. If I want to do detailed work, I'm going to hold it something like this towards the end. If I want to put in lots of flat tones, I'm going to hold it towards the back so I can use more of the flat edge, whereas when I'm holding it closer to the core and the tip, I'm able to angle that down. Also remember, you're going to need to keep sharpening your pencils for this particular job. You're going to need really sharp pencils towards the end, and they're going to wear down really quickly as you're doing lots of tonal shading. So the first thing we want to do is get the lightest tones on across our work. Try when you're rendering objects to follow the direction of the longest edge. The reason for that is that your eye has already seen these lines. Any lines that go with it will feel sort of harmonious or complementary. Any lines that go against it will feel sort of contrasting. So if you try to render it up and down like that, what will happen is as you get towards the middle, those will create T shapes that your eye will pick up on. Whereas as you're working like this, because your eye is following this line and this line and this line, it might feel slightly more harmonious, if that makes any sense to anybody. If not, just ignore it and do what you need to. Now, we start to go a little bit darker, particularly towards the back and down here. So as you can see, sometimes we just go in with a darker shade, and then all we do is we switch out one colour to the next darkest colour, and we do less, we apply less. It's a little bit like painting a model, if anyone's into that sort of thing. You put your base coat on, which is one colour, then you add your shades and your highlights and so on in different colours, but the main colour you've already laid down. Now what you can also do is go around the outside a slightly darker tone to start creating these contrasts. Hopefully you can see all that. Don't go too heavy, just keep working on it, making it slightly darker each time. This is not by any means going to be my best example on this cuboid, so I'm trying to rush it. These two examples probably took me about half an hour each. I don't want this video to run that long. And don't worry if you go too dark, just take a rubber and then rub it out. At the moment it's starting to look a little bit too much like ice, not metal. So one of the things I can do is make these lines thinner, make this whole surface a little bit more like blue. Across there. If you want to, you can always come down there. There's no reason you have to use L shapes. You can just come across. Remember, if you're rendering metal that's been painted with any particular sort of polymer, then it's not going to look like this. It's going to look like the polymer. It's going to look like a solid object that's actually plastic and so on. So this is really just for bare metal, things like screws, nuts, bolts and so on, or metal that's been treated but with a transparent treatment. If you had something that was anodized, then it would retain some of that metallic quality but would be a different colour. So you could do this entire technique in red or purple or whatever you wanted, just to represent that. But it's just to get some of that reflectiveness to show. Now my pencil is getting a little bit blunt. There we go. And don't worry if you get lines on there, because that's part of what metal looks like. Most metal surfaces, or metallic surfaces, have got scratches and so on them. They're not going to be perfectly finished. So we're going to come in with this again. And you'll be surprised at how quickly your work comes together once you get onto the darker tones. Now, next thing to do, even on something like this, which is a sort of golden colour, you're going to need some black. You'll notice here that there's a lot more black visible than here. That's just because the dark brown I used on this particular example, the black really blended in well, whereas here the black's really stark. So what you have to do is get a really sharp edge on your pencil and work with that. As I said, this is not going to be my best work. Trying to keep it as flat as possible. And very light touch, just going over again and again. And that helps to create that sense of contrast between the white and the black. But you can of course just go over that in blue there if you want to. A little bit. As I said, you'll be surprised at how it will suddenly go from looking blue to white once you add in the extra tone. So we could in fact do this entire face slightly more blue. And by working very carefully with light lines, what we do is we make sure that when we come in to do our darker tones, we've got that range, that tonal range to play with. And there you go, you can leave some areas that then look like they are reflective. And if you need to go back in and make these white areas thinner, you can do that. And just keep playing around with it until you are content. It represents the type of metal you want. Now, one of the really important things is to get reference images of the metal, just multiple reference images that you can work from in terms of choosing, selecting your colours, because that's the hardest part, is making sure you've got the right colour tools. So pencils in this particular case, but if you're using pens or markers or chalk or any of that stuff, just making sure that you've got all of the correct tool colours you need, because it just won't work. People will be able to spot straight away. There'll be something about it that they'll just go, that doesn't look right. A bit like this section here, it just doesn't look right. But for this example, for now, it'll do. And so you can see what we're starting to do is to put in these sections where we've got that contrast. And then if we want to, we can take the lightest tone and create a shadow. So if the light's coming down from here, hitting there, then the shadow's going to be around here. Just to sit our object onto the surface, take the lightest tone, try and follow the shape a little bit, and then you can always just take each of the other tones really gently, and then you can play around with that to your heart's content. But there you go, that's a rough idea of how to produce a sort of metallic block. Now if you wanted to, you could go in and put some little textures to show that it's a textured surface. You can do that with any of the colours. You can always go in and do the same, so it's been ground and honed and lapped, all the different techniques you might want to put onto it. But there you go, that's the basic principles. So the first thing you need to do is to think about where the light's coming from, where the light's going to reflect, how you're going to adapt your colour selection for the particular material you're using. Contrast is the key, making sure that you've got these areas of contrast using the multiple colours. As you can see here, this doesn't really have a huge amount of white space on it. It's mainly using the yellow as the lightest colour. And that's because when I was looking at gold, I noticed that there was very rarely, on the examples I was looking at, any extremely white sections. It was only where the light really hit it. Whereas when I was looking at things like steel and chrome, they always seem to have what was nearly pure white somewhere on it. So that's why we've gone with these different types of contrasts. So there you go. Hopefully you'll find that useful.